Hello Absurdisan and welcome back to the Prose Gamer, where we look at the stories beyond the game. Today, it's a bit of a surprise. You may have noticed that the title of this video is a little odd, strange, but there is a clue in that to the game from which this story comes. See if you can figure it out. If not, I will be telling you at the end, and I'm sure you'll realise as the story goes on. But without any further ado, let's bust out the Prose Gamer and have ourselves a read. The fluorescent lights made everyone look eerily pale in the sparsely decorated room. Lieutenant Hoxton once again looked over the table strewn with documents and files at the balding scientist before him. A team of lab assistants busied themselves with looking uncomfortable behind their apparent leader, eager to avoid Hoxton's gaze at all costs. The lieutenant sighed and looked back down at the file closest to him. Pictures, typed reports, and hastily scrawled notes told him all he needed to know, but he couldn't bring himself to accept the information before him. It was too drastically wrong, too astoundingly strange for him to comprehend, and even he, a usually rational, level-headed man who was rarely surprised, was having difficulty grasping what all of this meant. A hushed cough brought his eyes back up to see the scientist clearly reluctant to speak. "Lieutenant," started the follically challenged man before Hoxton held up a hand to stop him. "Dr. Abernathy, that word is only pronounced that way in Europe. We are 2 miles below the surface of Nebraska. I don't think we could be any more in America if we were balls deep in Lady Liberty's unspeakables, so you'd best be calling me Lieutenant." Dr. Abernathy shuffled uncomfortably in his seat. "Sorry, Lieutenant, but this is all accurate. We have been down here for almost a year, and we are seeing things beyond our wildest expectations. The test subjects are showing unbelievable traits and powers that we never anticipated, and we have documented every second of it. We have checked and rechecked the data, rewatched all the footage hundreds of times, and all of my staff confirm that what I have shown you is the absolute truth." Lieutenant Hoxton glared at the good doctor. He knew this man. He would not lie. He was the best at what he did, a respected man in the world of science. If anyone was going to fudge the results or otherwise try to deceive him, it wouldn't be Abernathy. As mind-shatteringly unbelievable as it was, Hoxton had to take his word for it. He slouched back in his chair, a defeated breath escaping his lips. He lifted his hat and scratched beneath his thick black hair, of which Dr. Abernathy was immensely jealous, although he would never say as much. Hoxton beckoned over an intern who had been trying her hardest to blend into the corner of the room. "I need some coffee. Black. Like black hole at the center of the galaxy black." The intern scurried out of the room's single door, worrying about how to generate a singularity in a mug, and Hoxton looked back at the doctor. "I need general powers. He needs to hear this." Dr. Abernathy nodded and pulled a keyboard from under the table, typing unknown commands. Hoxton turned to a large screen behind him, one of the only distinguishing features of the room, and it flicked into life. After a couple of seconds of static, a picture of a man with his back to the camera burst on screen. "General Powers, it's good to see you again," said Hoxton. "Actually, it's Admiral General Powers now. I bought a boat," said the man on screen, as he turned slowly to reveal an army uniform practically made out of medals and commendations, as well as a glorious brown beard accented with silver that betrayed the general's age. "Excellent dramatic reveal, sir," said Hoxton. "Thanks. I've been working on it," Powers replied. "What have you got for me, Hoxton? I know you're at the facility, so I can only assume the magnitude of the situation is great indeed." "Yes, sir. Project G047 has made unprecedented discoveries during the last year. I've had the good Dr. Abernathy send through some of the most interesting files to you." On cue, someone off-screen handed the General some papers, and as he read his way through each one, his expression darkened. All was silent, and by the time Powers lowered the pages from view, he was visibly shaken. "Good God," General Powers managed, staring at nothing in particular. "And nothing has been done to the test subjects?" "No, sir." It was Dr. Abernathy who spoke, surprising everyone. "It is unlike anything we've seen in any being before. Without any external influence at all, they just started exhibiting these abilities. Every single one we have brought in has shown something they can do, sometimes something we have seen before, and sometimes something completely new. There appears to be no pattern or reason." Everyone was silent again. No one dared to breathe. The door opened and everyone gasped as the intern returned with the lieutenant's coffee, which Hoxton readily accepted. Everyone looked back at the screen and at General Powers, who had sat himself down. "Hoxton, we need to get the President. He needs to see what's going on here." "Actually, gentlemen, I'm already here," said the President, apparently appearing from nowhere in the open door. He strode into the room flanked by two men in suits and sunglasses, and if a cameraman was filming that moment, he would have used a low-angle shot to make the President look very tall and impressive. "Mr. President," said General Powers, standing and saluting as everyone in the room followed suit. "Fantastic dramatic reveal, sir." "Thank you, General. I've been working on it," said the President. He calmly walked over to the table and indicated for everyone to sit down, which only resulted in Hoxton and Dr. Abernathy taking a seat, as there were only 2 seats in the room. One of the lab assistants sat on the floor, but then thought better of it and sheepishly got back up as the rest shuffled nervously amongst themselves. The intern attempted to become one with the wall. "Lieutenant, I've seen the files. I know the gravity of the situation, and I would like to see this firsthand. Dr. Abernathy?" The doctor gasped, apparently having forgotten to breathe since the President had entered. "Yes, Mr. President." "Can you show me the test subjects?" Of course, sir," he stuttered, and he grabbed the keyboard again and pressed another series of unknown buttons. Suddenly, the wall behind him started to slide downwards, giving way to a large glass window that overlooked a gargantuan bunker stretching as far as any of them could see. The area that spread out before them was split into sections, each one exactly the same. It showed a small town, with people and cars and trucks, a gas station, a small wheat field, trampolines scattered, water slides, and a host of other apparently random features. There were countless replicas of this scenario, and each one was in various states of disrepair or destruction. Some of them were untouched. Screaming could be heard from a few, explosions from others, but no matter what each small stage was experiencing, there was always one constant. In each area was a goat. "Project G047, said the President, almost wistfully. He cast his gaze across the myriad scenarios playing out before him. "Dr. Abernathy, please refresh my memory on some of the more notable cases you have seen here." Yes, sir. One of the subjects was seen to gather humans to a sacrificial area, after which they grew horns and had unearthly powers of destruction. Another managed to put on a jetpack and started flying at random, and another still somehow managed to transform into a giraffe. And another, well, look down there. Dr. Abernathy pointed to a relatively close section, and everyone gathered up to the glass to look, except for General Powers, who just grunted from his television screen. They all watched as one goat walked around a construction site, seemingly perfectly normal. It walked here and there, occasionally stopping to sniff at things, until it saw the crane that was installed in each area. It walked with purpose up to the crane, finding its way to the ladder on the back. Stepping close, its head bent backwards until it was contorted around in an impossible manner, twitching and flopping at sickening angles. Then it put its 2 front hooves on the bottom rungs and started to climb. Several of the lab assistants fainted. The intern was violently sick, and Hoxton had to hold back his own bile with a great deal of effort. The president did not say anything for a long time, and when he did, his voice was wavering and croaky. "We've seen and learned, and we've seen enough, Doctor," he uttered. As the wall slid back into place, he held his head in one hand, the other resting on his hip. With a great sigh, he turned back to the room, and everyone waited. The air was thick with anticipation, and there was no sound. After an impossibly long time, the president breathed in slowly, and then, almost as a whisper, he said, "Dr. Abernathy." "Yes, Mr. President." "Nice dramatic reveal." "Thank you, sir. We've been working on it." So that was today's story. I am Gator Lotus, which you may have figured out by now is actually an anagram of Goat Simulator. Yep, it was a Goat Simulator story. I couldn't help myself. I approached this in one particular way, which I thought it was hilarious to just make Goat Simulator something bigger than it actually is, because it's a stupid game. It is. It's hilarious, stupid fun. And I thought making it something bigger, taking the piss out of the whole situation, bit of fun. My wife actually suggested another idea, which was to write it from the perspective of the goat itself, which I hadn't thought of, and I actually quite like the idea of. It's a good challenge to write from the perspective of an animal. So I might do that in the future, who knows. But for now, this is my Goat Simulator story. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think. And please, let me know what video games you would like to see stories of next. Get in the comments, let me know what you think of today's, let me know what you want in the future. Just get in there, do your thing. In the meantime, this has been the Prose Gamer, and I've been Richard Perry. Have a fantastic day.